Hello students, in this lecture we will study about another universal social institution, that is marriage. Through this lecture we will scrutinize marriage as a concept, its definitions by different anthropologists and laws of marriage. The concept of marriage. Marriage is an institution or complex of social norms that sanctions the relationship of a man and a woman and binds them in a system of mutual obligations and rights essential to the functioning of family life. Marriage is a universal phenomenon. Anthropologists have been trying to provide universal definition for this institution. Evolution of marriage. Marriage evolved as initially all men had access to all women. Then it evolved into group marriages, which further evolved into individual marriages. Early social thinkers, basically the followers of evolutionism, were of the opinion that human beings lived in a state of promiscuity where individual marriage did not exist. In such a society, all men had access to all women, and children thus born were the responsibility of the society at large. This gave rise to group marriages to bring regulations and general order in the society. However, later in the day, the natural instinct of jealousy embedded in human beings has been assumed as the reason behind single marriages to restore harmony in the society. Now let us try to understand what the term marriage stands for through definitions given by different anthropologists. George Peter Murdoch defined marriage as a universal institution that involves residential cohabitation, economic cooperation, and the formation of nuclear family, while Westmark had emphasized on marriage as a recognized union between a man and a woman, that the spouse lived together and that the couple have clearly recognized mutual sexual rights. These definitions are not considered universal, as it could not accommodate polygynous and polyandry marriages and marriages where the spouses lived in separate households. Kathleen Gough, in her study of the Nayars, has defined marriage as a relationship established between a woman and one or more other persons, which provides that a child born to the woman under circumstances not prohibited in the rules of relationship of that society is accorded full birth status rights common to normal members of his society or social stratum. William N. Stevens defined marriage as a socially legitimate sexual union, begun with public pronouncement, undertaken with the idea of permanence, assumed with more or less explicit marriage contract, which spells out reciprocal economic obligations between spouses and their future children. These definitions could not prove to be universal. Hence, for the convenience of anthropological discourse, we would refer to the definition of marriage as in notes and queries. Now, notes and queries defined marriage as a union between a man and a woman such that the children born to the woman are recognized as legitimate offsprings of both partners. Now we come to the laws of marriage. Societies have their own norms when it comes to marriage. Every society has rules which deal with whom to marry, who is out of bounds for marriage in that society. While selecting one's mate, one has to follow certain norms and choose the bride and groom within these norms. There are three major types of rules or laws of marriage. These are proscriptive rules, prescriptive rules, and preferential rules. Proscriptive rules. These rules directs whom a person should not marry. These rules are majorly concerned with incest taboos. Incest taboos is a universal norm for almost all societies, which pertains to restriction in marriage and sexual relation among certain categories of close relatives, generally related by blood, like father and daughter, mother and son, and sometimes also parallel cousins. Though there are few societies where incest taboos are not prevalent, for example, among earlier Greek and Hawaiian royal families. In ancient royal families, it was believed that royalty could only be passed down to the children of two royal family members, usually brothers and sisters. The Talensi of Ghana does not strongly prescribe to the norm of incest taboos between brother and sister, while a relationship between a man and wife of a lineage mate is unpardonable. Prescriptive rules. These rules directs whom a person should or can marry. The rules of endogamy or exogamy are also prescribed norms in many societies, to which a man has to adhere while acquiring a mate. Endogamy refers to marriage within a group, while exogamy means marriage outside the group. For example, Toras in India are divided into two endogamous moieties, each with separate economic and ritual functions. Each of these endogamous moieties is having number of clans. Marriage occurs outside the clan in the same moiety. It is often theorized that exogamy developed as an extension of incest taboos. Now we come to preferential rules. Preferential rules are rules that are related to whom an individual can prefer to marry. Best example of preferential rules are among cousins, that is cross or parallel cousins, levirate and sororate marriages. Cross cousins are children of siblings of opposite sex, that is brother and sister, while the children of siblings of the same sex, like brother and brother, are called parallel cousins. In many of the Islamic societies, a man marries his father's brother's daughter, known as parallel cousin, a rare form of endogamy. The Kurds of eastern and southeastern Turkey will still continue with the practice of parallel cousin marriage. Levirate is a form of marriage in which, after the decease of a elder brother, the younger brother is obliged to marry the widow, while sororate is the practice of the widower marrying the sister of his dead wife's. In this video, students must carefully go through the definitions of marriage and precisely understand the difference in the three laws of marriage. Thank you.